Hello, 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 everybody. What's going on? This is your boy Leon LeGray recording on January 22nd of 2022. Wow, so we're on a roll for this month's podcast, and I am recording this on a Saturday. Wow, so everybody, welcome aboard, and I hope you guys are having a very good time today on Saturday. Normally, I would record this on Friday, but the weekends just keeps me a little lazy at the start of the weekend. But during the weekend, it just feels like work. So there's no stop for me. So hopefully, you guys at this point already had set your resolutions, which I'm sure most of you guys already have. And if you haven't, I don't know what took you guys so long to do that. So one of my resolutions for this year, and I know that not everybody makes resolutions, but however, as a yearly thing, I like to create goals, what I want to do for the upcoming year, something that will pretty much help me down the line. For one, I won't be too explicit about it or reveal a lot, but I will say that if I had to come up with three things, which is this: work on learning a new language, keep up with coding, something I am going to be doing for with in the middle of the year is working on a blockchain alternative, streaming alternative, which is going to be based on the blockchain. But I won't give too much away. But of course, I would love to give that out to everybody that is interested in my future projects, and hopefully, you guys will like it. And then, second, or excuse me, I already said the second. Third and foremost, I think what's important is getting rid of a lot of the physical books that is going to be hard to keep up. And as everybody know, and for those of you know, I am moving to South Florida. So there's just a lot going on in my life right now, and I'm ready to get out of Georgia. And I'm ready. I'm not done living here. So for me, that movie is going to start around mid 2022, and I'm happy to see that moving forward. I'm selling my things, getting rid of a lot of things, doing all that stuff. So, guys, so there's gonna be a lot happening. So, for and foremost, it is gonna be good. But the books, on the other hand, it's gonna be very, very challenging because there is a lot of book readers out there. So I love to get rid of most of my books and get most of my titles that I enjoy reading, converting them into ebooks. And today's topic is going to be about ebooks today. So it's going to be very good. And I hope that you guys enjoy today's topic on ebooks. So here we go. And before we start, I want to say a few words of our sponsors today. So today's sponsor, it's going to be Zennies Optical. If you've not heard about Zennies Optical, you're definitely missing out on Zennies. And what I love about Zennies the most is that it provides glasses for non-prescription and prescription glasses, and also it is anti blue light protection. So if you work on your computer all the time, whether you're working or you're gaming, it provides glasses for everyone else, to young children to adults. So if you're looking for good prescriptions, look no further than Zennies Optical. I love Zennies, and I've tried them for a very, very long time too. So if you've not checked out Zennies, right now today it's going to be a good day to check out Zennies Optical, and I'll have the discount code and the affiliate link down below for you guys to check out. Next, it is Grubhub. If you've not heard about Grubhub, what are you guys doing? Grubhub pretty much is a delivery service, pretty much similar to such as Uber Eats or DoorDash, but Grubhub is amazing. Thanks to Grubhub, I'm an affiliate with Grubhub, and I love the service too. Now, if you live in the United States, Grubhub is available on all I believe all 48 to 50 states alone. So check out Grubhub if you guys can. I love the service. The service is absolutely amazing, and plus the first and foremost, they deliver it right at your door. So absolutely, it is really cool that I've got to use Grubhub, and after I've used Grubhub for many, I would say for many days within the month of December. I loved it, and I've ordered from them at least about 4 times during that month of December, and it is pretty cool to see that too. So, guys, if you are interested in Grubhub or are interested in getting food right on your door, go ahead and check out Grubhub and click the affiliate link down below so you guys can sign up. And last but not least is Scooch. If you guys have not heard about Scooch, yeah, and if you've not heard about what I've said, tons of good things about Scooch, the blog post I wrote on my website over on leongreatentry.blog, then I don't know what you guys are not doing to protect your phones. And believe me, a lot of people's phones break every single time when people do not end up purchasing a phone case throughout their brand new purchase of their iPhones or their Android phones. And guess what happens? People cry, and people don't put the time to or never get a phone case right off the bat. Believe me when I say this too. I've known people close to me that have their phones broken out throughout their first few weeks when they purchased their new phone, and they said that they have regretted not purchasing a phone case for right off the bat when they purchased their brand new phones. And you want your phones to last long enough too, and also no shatters, no breaks. Also, believe me when I say this, it's good to have your phone protected, and I've used Scooch case and their partner Fortress Up for screen protection too, because you might want to get something extra along with it as well. So you're a phone case covering and a screen protector by Fortress Up. Believe me, you might want to have something on you to protect your investment. Everybody is a content creator nowadays too. I'm sure you guys are listening to me now, and you guys do tons of content creation. And if you want to protect your investment, your iPhone 13, your iPhone 12, whatever phone it may be too, go ahead, check out Scooch Case, and you will not regret it at all too. With that said, let's get on to today's episode. Let's do this. Woo. All right. So the subject of today is ebooks. Welcome, guys, for listening to or coming back to listening to 175. If you're brand new, welcome aboard. I hope you enjoyed this episode. So today we're gonna go ahead and get onto the topic of ebooks. So for a long time, I've pretty much resisted of getting a tablet because of the extra expense. And I remember back in those days, like the 2000s, where man, they were very expensive to purchase a tablet, either a tablet or an e-reader, which while the technology was good back then too, and it supported back then it was like 4 reading formats. It was a rich text format, the text files, PDF, and then some proprietary file type from any company that you purchase that tablet or anything that you've gone through. So now, as of this year, I'm looking over and going for an e-reading device. And many reasons why I've done it because of the physical books I've had in my library. And to me, it was just time to get rid of things that I shouldn't be keeping at all in the first place. And while look, the good thing about physical books is that they don't run in batteries. Only digital e-readers do. So, but the one thing I say about e-readers is that in their respect, I will say that the battery life on e-readers, they last a lot longer than let's say an iPhone or Android phone, for instance. Um, and the reason being why these batteries last long is because, for one, you don't have all that 4G um, signals, and you don't have all these notifications that will end up running in the background, killing your battery much faster. So that's the reason why there's a lot of people that go for e-readers, uh, those devices alone, instead of having to go and purchase let's say a phone or a tablet, because that's where I think a lot of people prefer that method too. Now with tablets, I will say with tablets, even though you definitely have a UI, you can put other applications, and you have the option to put, let's say, surf the web using a tablet. Which, by the way, I've seen tablets like this too, because I have tons and tons of experience where I've seen people that have said that, oh, I want something that's very simple and I can use it for reading and pretty much out on the go, which I think it's cool. I think it's really, really neat that you could just go ahead and purchase something and just read something on the go while you're on the park, while you're on the beach, while you're on the office, going out for lunch, taking a break if you don't want to mingle with your coworkers. So, and that's one thing I'll say about digital, where with digital you have tons of advantages. Where I remember when back in the mid 2000s to late 2000s, when I was visiting family back and forth, and I was visiting back and forth, that I had family down in South Florida, and I would take flights from Atlanta to Florida all the time to see family there. And one thing I didn't buy into digital was digital reading. And I would and to be fair though, I did some digital reading while I was using an Android phone back in those days too, right? But I just didn't buy into buying all the digital books, or going fully digital back then too, because I was still a physical book guy, pretty much, and that I wanted to just take the book and have the book in hand instead of having everything digital, because I was worried that the books were I would have misplaced my books while I was organizing and all that too. And back then I was pretty disorganized, that having to keep every single thing digital. And to me, the more I see myself with physical books on hand, and I used to lug them around in with a backpack. And I remember taking this red suitcase, and I put like the most I put was like 5, 10, or 15 books in one suitcase. And it's crazy because I would have never thought I would stick all these books in a book bag too, right? And now the more I think about it, I want to pretty much go very light. I just don't want to take things lugging around so many things all at once, and it can be very clubbersome, clubbersome in a way that, for me, I just don't like it anymore, and it's just putting so much stress in my back, right? And now having to go through all this physical this physical pain in my body. And I remember when I was in school, like in the mid 2000s, uh, and I remember I was in high school then, and I remember that not everything was focused on digital books. I mean, a lot of people were still using physical textbooks, math books, social studies books. And I remember that I had to lug these damn books around all the time in between classes. And I'm sure that everyone had lockers, of course, but it's still, if you had like a book, let's per se, like just to take with you back and forth, and it becomes very inconvenient to take something with you I know that it could be a pain in the ass to take a hardcover book for textbooks, and I think for one, digital e-reading. When the more I see that, it solves the issue where it makes things much lighter, and for many of you don't know, I love going over and reading novels, which that's something I enjoyed. I love reading fantasy books. I really enjoyed that too when I was out on the go, and something that will pretty much occupy my time, whether it would be on between classes, lunch breaks, or whenever I'm in the airport waiting for my flights, where before boarding into the next flight, or something along that line, for example. And so that's something I loved about having a physical book right there too. And not to say that I I became or suddenly became against physical books, right? But now I figured it's definitely the time to switch because for one, I will put it this way. I I have to say, after during the years of lugging so many books, and I will say that look, I think the physical books are going to be here to is still going to be here to stay. So that's not going anywhere, right? Because I know that there's still old books, first edition books that a lot of people go over on eBay and purchase hardcover first edition books, which that's where a lot of book collectors they go out and purchase those first collectors, and they will and the best part about physical is you can have it signed by your favorite author. So there is the benefit of having to take a physical book with you and have it signed, or potentially have it signed by an author, or or some or an author that you end up meeting in a book fair or a book convention. So that's one of the benefits I liked about that is you can just do that. Well, with e-reading, there's no way you can have it digitally signed by your author. So there's no way to do that unless if it was scanned, but probably so. So I think that's fine. So, but however, I think the e-reading comes to play it, and why I end up making that decision because everything is becoming so expensive because of inflation and everything like that too. And for me, when it comes to my move, I know that I'm not gonna take all these books with me, uh, with my move coming up right there, because I just think it's just so much of a hassle to take the books, take the books with you, box them up, and then I'll end up bringing all these books down south. I just don't like that, where I have to go out and put all the time and effort in to putting that all these books with me and taking it with me. To me, I like to sell all these books in my bookstore and get rid of these physical books for whoever wants to read them. Like for instance, I've already inherited most of my aunt's books, and for me, I don't care to read Danielle Steele books, and I don't think I'll ever will. To me, there's that point of me. It's just like I don't think I'm going to take these books with me, and or nor I'll ever read these books because it's just for me. That's just no fun. I just don't see the fun of having to take a book with me or ever open a book and read the first chapter of that book because I just don't see the sense of that, right? Absolutely don't see the sense of it 100%. So for me, I'm sure there's an audience for Danielle Steele, but for me, I'm not that audience. And she's not the one that will approach me. To me, I gravitate more to science fiction, fantasy, thriller, suspense, like for instance, like a Lee Child novel, the Jack Reacher novels that he's been writing for some time now, for about over 20 years. So, very legendary author right there, and which he's been writing since the late 90s. So, I liked about guys like him is that he's still able to entertain people like that too. and I'm still pretty much in the beginning of the Killing Floor, which I'm still in that chapter 2. I have the physical copy, but I do want to go ahead and purchase the digital copy for my portable use. And hell, there are books that for me I would love to take with me because I would love to go ahead and read these books out on the go and do just do what I have to do for sure because I want to just take some books with me and just embrace that too. Like for instance, I'm going over um uh ebooks.com and I'm going over the the book. Like for instance, like if you had purchased a book over on, let's just say, Amazon or Barnes and Nobles, I'm sure it would have been a little bit expensive to get the cover of to get the book of Killing Floor. You'll spend probably a little bit more, right? And then plus tax included. And for instance, if I were to purchase ebooks.com and purchase Killing Floor, it'll be $9.99. And I'm just going to do this as an example. I won't purchase a book, but if I go over that method, like billing details, I'll go to the cart, and pretty much there's not going to be an extra charge. So right, so that's what I like about the ebook model is that it's not as expensive, and I love the fact that it's not terribly expensive, which I think there's so much advantages over that too, and you could just take it on the go wherever you are, and I love about that model, and I'm not having to think twice on that too. And I'm sure if you guys live in Europe, there is the tablet, the Pocketbook tablet, which I'm sure everybody knows, Pocketbook. So if you go to pocketbook.de, that's a very popular tablet that they're for a lot of European users. I heard a lot of good things about it too. The reading tablet is absolutely amazing. I've heard tons of great reviews. That's people have reviewed them. So far, I can't get my hands on it because, for one, they don't know when there's going to be a release date for U.S. consumers like myself, and something I would like to get my hands on. And I think it has tons of potential where you're not just reading novels, you're reading comics, you're reading different types of files right there too, like the CBR file type, which is stands for comic book reader. You can just go ahead and read your comic books right over there too. And I'm sure that since comic book, or it's not comic book, Pocketbook has the potential to read through different applications. Like for example, if you are a customer over on Comixology, which is pretty much now owned by Amazon, I'm sure a lot of you guys know that if you are a big comic book reader, I totally recommend Comixology. I've gone through their catalog, and there's tons of new titles that's happening every single day, and a lot of people are going for digital. And I'm sure there's going to be the loyal fans that are going to stick with physical, and they'll never ever switch over, and that's fine. And I used to be one of those guys that said the same thing. Like, I'll never go digital because to me that's very sacrilegious. But but I think here's the problem with having to stick with one form right there too. And for me, what I liked about comic books is that you have in your hand, and let's say if you were to go to a convention one of these days, you could have it signed by your favorite artist or your favorite writer. And that's what I liked about the comic book scene, where it's still alive and kicking. I mean, there's still tons of creators on Marvel, DC, Dark Horse, Images, which Image is like one of my favorite companies because, well, for one, I love the Spawn character. I really love the fact that you could just go out and take that material with you, if you whenever you guys need to. Like for instance, I've already kept up with first issue of Spawn, and I definitely have to have more Spawn in my collection. Probably digitalize it, of course, and have that there too. Now, if for any reason, if I ever met like the creator of Spawn, Todd McFarlane, that would be a cool thing to do that and have his signature, because he did the art and he did the writing for Spawn all the way from first issue throughout the 50th issue, and then he had to go and get an artist because he was taking so much responsibility throughout the time when he was president and CEO of Image, and he still had tons of responsibilities, which is crazy because not. I mean, if you're the CEO of a company, you can't do all of that at once. So you have to hire artists and inkers and pencilists, all that too, to do all the work. So there's that right there too. And I'm sure that Image, they've been in the forefront of having digital already at that point. So, I mean, you got a lot of these comic book artists and comic book writers they're already embracing digital. So I can't see why I shouldn't as well. To me, that's a good opportunity why you guys shouldn't really miss on that too. Because I know that when I've gone through the Image Comics website, what I see here is a lot of these art, they're already done well on digital. And now the best thing about digital, I'd say that there is not a lot of mistakes you guys can really do. It's cool, and I love the fact that you can just go through your artwork, and if you have made a mistake on your art, you can just go ahead and erase it and edit it, and no problem at all. And it's like that's why there's a lot of reasons why artists are already going to digital, or the format of digital already at that point, because if you've done ink, any artwork in ink, and if you made that mistake in paper, then guess what? You have to start all over again, and it sucks because as an artist, I'm sure it was terrible back then as an artist to go through the same crap and and then having to start all over again wouldn't be so fun at all, right? So that's the reason why comic books. There's a lot of good reasons why writers and artists have gone digital because of it too, because they don't have to be making these same mistakes over and over and having to go through it again. And that's why I think I love about digital as well. It doesn't mean that I hate I hate physical completely. I think there are some good benefits with physical, and you can keep that as an investment for a very long time. And what I can say about with digital is for one, to lay it down right here, is one, it's inexpensive. Two, you can take it really easy on the go, and you can put as many comic books, novels, graphic novels, texts, or textbooks, formats that you get from your university right off the fly, which is absolutely amazing, and not having to go through the lugging your books all the time, when it's heavy. Now with physical, one, it's heavy, and having to lose your possession is not fun, because otherwise you're going to end up repurchasing the book all over again. It's just not fun, and I think there's some disadvantages with physical that nobody wants anything to happen. Like, I'll just give you the long story short. I remember my dad purchased The Hobbit by Tolkien, right? J.R.R. Tolkien, a long time ago when I was a teenager in high school, and I loved the Tolkien. I love the Middle Earth series, it's definitely a fun read too. I'm sure that Tolkien didn't just write The Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings trilogy. He pretty much expanded the world of Middle Earth, and I'm sure there's tons of books that I don't even know about too. But I'd love to get into Tolkien a lot, down in and read through it more as I can go on. But still, it would be amazing to get into the Tolkien, which I would love to read up on. So, what happened to that book when I was working over, let's say, in the courthouse? I was working in a courthouse, which was provided to me by my school back then too. And I remember I was reading Tolkien, and I took the book with me so I can read it through a lunch break, right? And if I didn't want to mingle with some these idiotic coworkers I've had with me, I'll just take Tolkien with me and just read it on my or read it off on my break or my off time, which is something I like about it too. Then one day I lost that book and I could not find that book for the life of me, and I had to end up going out and repurchasing that book because of the lost possession of the Tolkien book, and I could not even find that book anywhere. It sucks, and it sucks losing a book that that you were gifted, and then you have to purchase that book all over again. It's not a good feeling, having to spend twice on a book. So that's with that said, I think it's important that if it's important to keep your possessions intact or close to you too as well. Yeah, so that's, or I would say that there are plenty of good reasons to keep a digital copy with you in case anything were to happen with the physical books. Now, the other side, I would say with physical, now hardcover books can be pretty heavy. I like hardcover covers only because you can have the shelf of hardcovers and makes it as a good addition to your library, which I think the the collection there, which I think it's cool to have something where you can just have it presentable and you can just pick it up and read it on your library, which it's not bad to have that on you. So yeah, again, a lot of cool things that you can just take with you. Now the hardcovers, I would say that made me stop buying hardcovers are the price tags. Like for instance, hardcovers are $30 USD. Then ebooks. With ebooks, you're gonna end up spending about $10 a piece, or I believe $10 or $14 a piece for. I know it's $14 a piece for a brand new ebook when you're out purchasing a brand new ebook for that time. So that said, I think that'll be great as well to switch over on ebooks. Now, another thing I would say with old physical books, I think the old paperbacks have tons of tons of advantages too. I won't go too much further into detail because I am definitely running this segment much longer. But what I can say is with paperback is pretty much small. It's convenient. It's easy to take on the go, which I think it's great to do that. The one advantage is to put out right there is, man, that is cheap. The paperbacks are very cheap, and if you want to take some books with you on the go, paperbacks are cheap, and you can actually find good, inexpensive paperbacks on flea markets or drift or bargain stores, which I think it's really cool to get books like that instead of having to go to your main, what do you call it, those mainstream bookstores. Well, it's really good that you don't have to just go and get go out and purchase on big websites like Amazon or Kubo, Barnes and Nobles, or wherever you guys get your books on too as well. And I'm sure that for people that are listening to me internationally, I'm sure it is the book market is very different than here in the United States. So it's a very different market. But either way, I think it's great that there's so many choices um, that you can choose between physical and digital. But for me this summer, and or actually for most or rest of the year, or rest throughout the remaining, I think I am definitely going digital because of the fact that it's been very heavy. And I have right now the titles I have on my library currently on my physical library is about 438 books in my library. It could be more too, so can't I can't really say because I've already lost count on how many books that that is already. So, but yeah, either way, what are your guys' take on it too? So, putting this podcast on a close because I know that there's always going to be the guys are going to side um, about digital versus on digital versus physical. So there's still going to be that kind of fight about how you guys are going to take this too, because I know I'm going to read through it real quick before ending this. So there are two articles I'm going to read up, which is one from Forbes and then the other one from Punch ng.com. So first thing I'm going to read over here, which is Forbes, which says here in the title, sales are up nearly 9% for print books, but who's reading them? So here it says U.S. publishers sold 825.7 million print books in 2021, up 8.9% over the previous years, but Pew data shows that the share of Americans who read print books remained flat over the period, with readers increasing picking up ebooks and audiobooks. U.S. print books rose by 67.8 million in 2021, with adult fiction sales rise 25.5% and adult nonfiction sales rising 4.4%, according to data gathered by market research firm NPD and reported by Publishers Weekly. However, the proportion of American adults reading print books remained statistic at 65%, as did the proportion reading books in any format at 75%, according to Pew study published Thursday. So there's still a good percentage of people reading physicals. And then if I go over to punch.com, which I'll have the two articles down below so you guys can read the full entirety. And because I'm not going to go over it throughout this podcast because I'm going over it much longer than I am. But so anyways, I thought this was a good article to pick up when I figured I'd read this out loud to everybody. And here it says, paper books have come to stay, libraries insist. And seated on a chair in front of his dimly lit stall at the popular Oshidi Market, Lagos states a bookseller and publisher, Emeka Ochiki, resisted his claps hands on his knees and bowed his head in prayer. He immediately shook his head while his eyes were closed as he muttered some prayers. A lot of us booksellers have become prayer warriors, he remarked. After a short prayer session, once we come to the shop, we keep praying to God to help us make sales. Beyond the advert of electronic books, which has disrupted his business in some way, Ochiki said people who still love to stock their personal libraries with hard copies of their choice books had been restrained from doing so due to the current state of the economy. He said the truth is that the internet has not dramatically affected us in Nigeria so much that booksellers cannot make sales. Some people are not buying books because of the emergence of the internet, but others still wish to have their hard copy books. But because there is not enough money in circulation, we have not been struggling. One's advanced university book is now between N 8,000 and N 11,000 and a lot of people don't have the money to buy such. And so that's what I'm talking about too, because there's so many these hardcover copies that are, like I've said before, very expensive, and that's there are many of the reasons why I personally am going to stick with digital for the long front, and plus all those authors are already making tons of revenue with these ebooks. So there's tons of people are gonna go purchase books on Amazon, Kobo, Barnes and Nobles, or wherever you shop your books at too. Because right now the market is very, very huge on e-reading right now too, and so that's never gonna go away. And for those of you guys or the hardcore physical guys that say, "Oh, I love my books because they don't run on batteries," right? And I remember hearing that quote from a teacher a long time ago that said that same thing too. While I agree with him, but however, I disagree at the same rate, because you can still have a book on you and within one device, and not having to take so many books with you all at once and strain your back while you're traveling, while you're doing stuff. Because also having to lose that physical copy and wasted that kind of money that you've purchased in your local bookstore, which is really sad to see, because I've lost a book once, and I would hate to lose titles that I've purchased with my hard-earned money. So that said, I won't go too much about that, and I really put my say about it. So, guys, what's your take on e-reading? Are you in the e-reading space, and what's the titles that you've gone over, and what books are you reading right now too? I'd love to hear your take. And also, the last thing I would like to say, if you're on Good Pods, and for those of you that don't know what Good Pods is about, I definitely encourage everybody to try out Good Pods. And what Good Pods is, if you are a podcast listener, and if you want to support your creator, like I myself too, I want to let you know that Good Pods it's growing a lot. So what Good Pods is that it combines a lot of the social aspects, like social media and podcasting together. In the combination of those two are great. In whatever episodes that you listen to your favorite podcaster, you can actually rate your content creator very easily, and it's pretty much a combination of Podchasers and iTunes mashed in together, which I liked about those two. Which in fact, whenever I ask people, say, "Hey, go and like, rate, and subscribe to me," Good Pods is very neat, and I recommend Good Pods for anybody that is listening to. So it is available on iOS and Android. So if you're a Apple user, go ahead and download the Good Pods on your App Store, or if you're an Android user, it is available on the Google Play Store. So with that said, everybody, I hope you enjoyed today's episode, and hopefully this is something that you guys learned about in today's episode. And be sure to follow me too if you want to listen to me more on what's new, what's upcoming. I'd love to hear your thoughts and your takes on it too. So with that said, thank you so much for coming in and taking the time to listen to episode 175 of the Leon LeGray podcast. Your host, as always, Leon. Goodbye. Take care. Have a blessed weekend. Enjoy. Hello, everybody. Thanks for listening to episode 175. So coming up for 176, I'll be reviewing on Good Pods, the application service that I just talked about a little bit on today's episode. Please be sure to subscribe to me on whatever podcast platform you're in, and so that way you can catch up on next episode. Thank you so much. Take care. Have a great one.